We are going to enjoy a series of presentation from our partners who share similar vibrant energy in making V20 the conversation starter. So for the speakers, due to time restriction, limited of time, we would like to have your time to be limited at 5 minutes. Thank you for your cooperation. Let's begin with our first speaker, Bapak Azis Armand, the Vice President Director and Group CEO of Indika Energy, who are doing his presentation virtually from Jakarta.
Hello, everyone. Good evening for those who are in Bali. Hi from Jakarta. Let me introduce myself, Azis Armand, as Vice President Director and Group CEO of Indika Energy. And for those who are not familiar with Indika Energy is a leading diversified investment company with key focus on developing new and more sustainable businesses through its strategic investment in the areas of energy, logistics and infrastructures, minerals, digital ventures, and a number of green-based businesses. While providing energy has been our core, since 3 years ago, we have redefined ourselves and expanding our purpose, not just energy as a word, but energy as a active verb, which is energizing the people of Indonesia through a wider spectrum of the utmost integrity, trustworthiness, and professionalism. And beyond energy, Indika Energy will make contribution to the environment, community, and society to continuously serve the nation. And with that new purpose, we have set our aspiration, the long-term aspiration really to achieve a net zero emission by 2050 with an intermediate target of more balanced revenue contribution from coal and non-coal sectors by 2025. And so Indika Energy, in essence, is in the transition. Next slide, please. From what we have currently today in the left-hand side, which involve energy resources, energy services, and energy infrastructures, to a future of Indika Energy with an intention to unlock sustainable development in Indonesia, focusing on logistic infrastructure, as I said earlier, minerals, nature-based or green-based solution, digital ventures, and others. Looking at this transition, these new sectors, we, Indika Energy, as an investment holding company with a number of operating subsidiaries in different sectors, we are cognizant of different cultures in different sectors, in different companies, which have totally, which is required by the specific sector requirement. However, we in Indika Energy believe that one set of values is required really as a fundamental, or to be the fundamental of everything, of why we exist, of what we do, and why we do things we do. So this is the importance of values in Indika Energy. And we have defined our values in 6 categories. Next slide, please. The next slide. Yeah, one being, let me just describe it. One being unity in diversity, UN, integrity, teamwork, agility, assessment, and social responsibility. So these six are, we like to call it unitas, which in Latin means unity. And we have defined its value in order for us to be able to reflect or to represent our behavior, our way of doing things in the company. And these values are required, in our view, in order for us to achieve our purpose, which is, again, we energize Indonesia for a sustainable future. And the next few slides, I share with you all how we practice our values in our companies. And we have the ESG initiative being the focus in the past few years in environmental, in the area of renewable energy and waste management, in the area of social. We have the woman-to-woman mentoring in engineering, and then in the governance, we have we have a comprehensive review of our ESG policy to ensure that we have our boundaries in terms of how we do things. As a closure, I'd like to share here that we are also part of a network by joining or acting as a signatory in the UN Global Compact, as well as a member of Indonesian Business Council for Sustainable Development. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Bapak Azis Armand, the Vice President Director and Group CEO of Indika Energy, for sharing Indika's values. Continuing to our second speaker, Charles Fowler, the coordinator of World Values Day, who is also doing his presentation virtually from UK.
Hi, thank you so much. Hello, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here, even virtually, and to tell you a little bit about World Values Day. World Values Day has been a partner of V20 since V20 started, and we're very, very excited by the collaboration. World Values Day takes place at more or less the same time as V20, or it did so in the previous 2 years. This year it's going to take place on exactly the same time. World Values Day is an annual event. It takes place this year on the 20th of October, and we run through till the 21st. So it's a perfect fit for V20 and the Values Festival that V20 is going to be organizing out of Bali to go with it. So we're very excited to be working even more closely this year. World Values Day is an annual celebration and exploration and a sharing of values around the world. And it, can I have the next slide, please? It's based on values, it's exploring values, and it's based on the assumption that, and the knowledge that we all have values, whether we know it or not. And all those values, not just those people here today, but people all around the world have fantastic values. Next slide. I just want to show you, next slide, please. Yeah, that's it. I want to show you, this is from the United States, the values survey that they did, the values assessment they did there in 2009, 2011, but it's very similar all the way around the world. In Indonesia too, you had your values survey a couple of years ago. And it's clear from that people most people have really good positive pro-social values. And whether or not they know about them, that's another matter, but they when asked in a survey like this, they have fantastic values. But the real problem is, and this is the big problem with the whole of the values field. Turn to the next slide, please. The big problem is that those values are not expressed, they're not practiced for lots of reasons. And when the same people that are surveyed about their own personal values are asked about the values of the society that they're in, the culture of the society they're in, they come out with all these words. Their personal values may be caring and honesty and respect and compassion, but when they're asked about the society they live in, wherever they are in the world, it's pretty much the same. They come out with words like this, words like corruption, bureaucracy, blame, violence, conflict. That's the United States, but it's the same pretty much everywhere. Next slide, please. So what's going on here? What's happening? Something is stopping us putting our values into action, and that's really where world values begins to come in. The biggest problem is our own cynicism and our own negativity. We actually think that our values are good, but other people don't have good values, and that's really the big barrier holding us back. It's this total misunderstanding. The research shows us that almost all of us, have good values, but the research also shows us that we don't believe other people have good values, and that's a total misunderstanding, which is at the root of a lot of the problems we have. So what to do about it? Next slide. What we want to do about it really is World Values Day. It's our answer to this big dysfunction, this issue about people having values themselves but believing other people don't have it. So we want to have a celebration every year where people can come together, think about their values, talk about their values, show their values, and share their values with other people, and try and get rid of that big dysfunctional problem to do with their misunderstanding about other people. Right, so I'm just having a little technical problem here, not to worry. So in 2016, we launched World Values Day, and it's been a fantastic success since then. We get to, through social media, which is a big vehicle for us, we get to reach a lot of people around the world, up to 75 million people in over 100 countries. Actually, that's just on one of our social media channels alone, Twitter. So the real figure is a lot higher. And we, next slide, please. And we have a huge number of activities that we participate in. There are thousands of organizations taking part, all sorts of hospitals, schools, NGOs, businesses, offices, factories, universities, you name it. They're taking part, big organizations internationally and small businesses. The big organizations are of the likes of PwC, have been fantastic supporters since we started, Volvo, IBM in Southeast Asia. San Miguel has been a big supporter for years. Big organizations, big network organizations like Rotary too. So, and we have all sorts of events and activities that they take part in. A lot of them do private events and activities, but a lot of them take part in public events and activities. And here are a few of them. If you turn to the next page, please. Next slide. Just to mention a few of them. We have an all-day online program of events that we started at the beginning of COVID, beginning of the epidemic, and for the whole of the day, running from New Zealand at the beginning of the day, all through the time zones around the world, we have events and activities. Last year, it was about 40 of them taking place back to back and sometimes side by side, with some big organizations, including PwC and others. We put together a 1-hour values challenge, which we run every year. That's for organizations to take part in. It's a 1-hour refresher of values. We have a big schools program this year. We've got bigger than ever, where we offer lots of ready-pack, ready displayed, opportunities for schools to take part in. We have, this year, we're starting a local community leader outreach program where we're going to be asking community leaders around the world, including elected ones, what their values are and how they put them into action in their community, and how that could be a lesson for all of us, including the G20 leaders. And of course, as I said, this year we're linking up with the V20 movement in a very, very close way, and we'll be hopefully integrating into our all-day program. We'll be integrating the events from the V20 summit and the Values Festival, and we'll be integrating other aspects of our programs and social media activities in a close way. So it's very exciting. I really love it if you could all join in. Last slide, please. Yeah, that's great. And actually, we'll go to the final slide, if I may. I'd love it if many of you as you can join in, take part. It's huge fun. It's very powerful, very energizing. You'll love it, and we'll have a really great time. But above all, we'll be spreading the word on values, that it isn't that other people do have good values. Your next door neighbor, the people in the next country, the people around the other side of the world, we all have these wonderful values, and we practice them together on World Values Day, and hopefully around the rest of the year as well. So thank you very much indeed, Melissa. Back to you.
Thank you, Charles Fowler. Good luck for your World Values Day coming this October. All right, our third speaker is the CEO of Pemimpin.id, and he will be joining us virtually as well. So please welcome Dharmaji Suradika.
Okay, yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dharmaji Suradika, the CEO of Pemimpin.id. Pemimpin.id is a leadership learning platform who has the main mission to make leadership ecosystem in Indonesia better. So, yeah, maybe can you help me, President? Yes. Okay, so next slide, please. Yes. It's around about 100 years ago, there was a living room in Indonesia, in small village in Surabaya, who has very good value inside the house. Actually, the house is just a simple house and nothing special within the house, but the people who live here who make it special. The owner of the house is Mr. Cokro Aminoto. He was the leader of one of the biggest community in Indonesia back then, Syarikat Islam. And Syarikat Islam has a members like more than 2 million members. And also inside this house, our first president, Sukarno, also started to learn to lead. Besides Sukarno, there were also Musso, the head of Indonesian Communist Party, and also Kartosuwiryo, the head of Islamic party back then. So how can the small house, normal house, can make these three ideologies live together and stay together? Next, please. Next slide, please. According to our observation, there are five principles for living in this house. The first is egalitarian, meaning everybody will be treated the same. You are coming from the normal level, or maybe you are coming from noble family, will be treated the same within this house. The second one is neutral. Ideology, whatever, no matter your ideology is, you can come to this house and discuss your ideology. The third one is sharing. So the sharing meaning from the mentor to the mentee, and also among the mentee, everybody can share their knowledge and can learn from everybody. The fourth value is empowering. So sharing meaning to empower others, not only in house, but also to all the Indonesian people outside the house. And the last but not least is this nationalism. So meaning all the discussion inside this house is all about Indonesia and how to make Indonesia independent. Next, please. So we also observe there are at least 3 roles within the house. The first role is the mentor, who are willing to share. And the second one is the young leader, who are willing to learn and who are willing to spread the knowledge to the other young people. And the third one is the volunteer, the executor, and the followers. So meaning the people who make this transfer knowledge come true. So meaning, next slide, please. So Pemimpin.id have a dream to recreate, to reactivate this golden triangle and want to transfer it to the young Indonesian people. We try to activate these 3 role, and also we transform the 5 value that I explained before to 3 main value that we think relevant to the current Indonesian youth. The first one, inclusive. Inclusive meaning leadership for everyone. Everybody can be a leader and everybody can, sorry, I think I have a internet problem. Okay. Yeah, so inclusive meaning leadership for everyone. Everybody can be a leader and leadership can be learned by everybody. The second value is effective. We want to grow the leader who can effectively solve the problem of Indonesia. The leader who can give the solution, not only speak louder, but also can make action. The third one, we want to grow leader who not only think about themselves, but who can put society, humanity, and nation to be the main focus in their life. As our founding father, Muhammad Hatta said, Leiden is leading, meaning leading is suffering. So meaning if we don't put the country in the first priority, meaning we don't live. Next slide, please. With this value, next. So how we transfer this value to the young people? We have 3 pillars. The first one, we train the young people with the learning program. Until now, we have 3,000, more than 3,000 alumni. And also we spread the leadership knowledge through media and event. Until now, we have more than 220,000 social media followers. And also we connect all leaders across Indonesia through community. Next, please. Until now, Pemimpin.id has more than 550,000 beneficiaries. And at the end of this year, we hope that we can have more than 1 million beneficiaries. We become one of the biggest leadership community in Indonesia with more than 15,000 active users. Next, please. To close my presentation, Ki Hajar Dewantoro once said he was our education heroes. He said the independent humankind, meaning they are free to decide and choose what is the best for them with full of awareness without any restraint from anyone, including themselves. And in Indonesia, meaning manusia merdeka adalah ketika semua manusia tersebut mampu mengambil keputusan yang terbaik untuk dirinya secara sadar dan tanpa tekanan dari manapun, termasuk dari dirinya sendiri. So meaning leadership is one of the main value to have truly freedom society. Thank you for the attention.
Very inspiring young leader. Thank you, Dharmaji Suradika. Continuing our event is our 4th speaker, Dr. Rizal Lukman, B20 Sherpa.
Value 20 Co-Sherpa, Value 20 Founding Circle, fellow speakers, participants, government officials, business participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Let me begin by thanking the V20 for organizing this wonderful gathering to capture the current perspective of leading experts across major topics, such as expressing their views on how we as a collective can push through in creating secure, purposeful, value-driven business to work a conscious and ethical work together. In my capacity as the Business 20 Sherpa of Indonesia, I'm pleased to present the core importance of what makes meaningful economic and national development. We are honored to be invited to expand the work made by the V20 within the business sector. Esteemed participants, while globalization and liberalization have reduced the global inequalities over the last few years, and progress has been made towards ending extreme poverty and hunger, the pandemic has exposed persisting disparities in our socio-economic systems. We need to realize that to have a well, just, and orderly economic growth, the process of seeking profit can no longer be the sole attention of businesses. What needs to be upheld is how businesses and private sectors can create and maintain the positive impact it brings to people. In this new era, a just, meaningful economic system is to be based on how it is value-driven and people-centered. The meaning goes beyond the paradox of ownership and consumption. It goes beyond the one-dimensional view of economics and our focus on gross domestic product or GDP. When I was invited to speak here, there are three ways how the B20 defines a meaningful economic development. Allow me to share them with you. First, valuable economy must put people at its center of gravity. The dynamic of our global economy is more unprecedented, with a strong emphasis on how to provide benefits for a larger community. Throughout my years of professional and business experience, the economic activity must put people at the top priorities, adding the relevant values into it. As outlined in the theme, Valuenomics, it promotes a value-driven economy that focuses on value of the people's well-being with their business processes. This actually can be shown by how companies can protect or demonstrate social capital, for instance, through ethical supply chains that pay a fair price for commodities or which protect workers' rights, or maybe providing educational opportunities that build human capital, or also by developing local infrastructure. These actions may put the company in a better position to engage with stakeholders such as governments and regulators and differentiate their products from other competitors. In most cases, I have seen companies who have put people at its center will be more sustained and positively regarded by the society. Second, it must be inclusive to be valuably impactful. These days, companies who are targeting emerging and developing markets are increasingly finding that inclusive business models with operations and products that target the bottom of the pyramid in these economies can access large market and deliver goods and services while still increasing the welfare of the most vulnerable. The reason is in most and almost all developing economies, fair economic distribution is key to sustainable growth, leaving nobody marginalized in terms of access to prosperity. Furthermore, once businesses and organizations are able to implement a meaningful economic process and it is value-driven, it is also important to make sure that these objectives are those which support the measures toward an inclusive, equitable, and balanced economic growth, recognizing different development levels that exist. This refers to bringing actual positive impact to the most marginalized, where women, youth, and workers with lower education suffered the highest cost. Businesses must start applying an inclusive business model that seeks to create value for low-income communities by integrating them into companies' value chain on the demand side as clients and consumers. Third, meaningful means friendly toward the environment. With that in mind, it is also deemed important that businesses must stay in line with how their activities have a valuable impact, not just to the society and people, but also ensuring it is environmentally friendly. The latest research is clear: to avoid the worst climate impact, global greenhouse emissions will need to drop by half by 2030 and reach net zero around mid-century. Many countries and governments have come up with the ambitious goals and solutions, yet they cannot work alone. Businesses and all parts of society must go hand in hand to help create a greener world. Considering this urgency, rapidly growing number of national governments, local governments, business leaders, and making commitment to reach net zero emissions with their jurisdictions or business, including among the G20 countries. Today, to achieve meaningful economy and concrete national development, we businesses must foresee sustainability not merely as corporate responsibility action, but solely as strategic imperative, shifting the focus from not only business efficiency, but also toward innovation that create sustainable value. Ladies and gentlemen, as the host of the G20 presidency, Indonesia has the opportunity to build a stronger international movement on economic inequality. Being the Sherpa for B20 Indonesia, I'm here to inform you that we should seize the strategic momentum provided by this presidency, not only in terms of the economic recovery, but also in making substantial policy recommendations with other G20 countries that will support the collective resilient global economy. B20 Indonesia, with the 6 task force and 1 action council, plan to raise the concrete and actionable policy recommendation that aims to tackle specific priorities based on the 3 main topics set by the president, which are inclusive global healthcare architecture, digital-based transformation, and transition to sustainable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, I urge the business community to recognize the significant importance and urgency to collaborate in creating a just and orderly economic development for all. I'm humbly inviting all stakeholders here and also Value 20 to keep promoting the value-based economy to the G20 governments. I appreciate to all for taking your time to listen to these remarks, and herewith I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And last but not least, our 5th speaker, who is also will be greeting us online. Please welcome Bapak Solihin J. Kalla, President Director Kalla Group.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to all of you guys, to B20 Advisory Board, and also to all values believers who attend this B20 event here in Bali and online. Please excuse my surrounding because I'm in the middle of one of the biggest project here in West Sumatra, which is a green energy and sustainability energy, which is the hydroelectric power plants here in western part of Indonesia. So today, I would like to share the value-based practices in Kalla that we believe are the key success of Kalla's 70th year of existence in here in Indonesia. Kalla was founded, next please. Kalla was founded in 1952 by a couple named Haji Kalla and Haji Atira, which are they are my grandparents, and they started the business in textile trade, which later, due to the demand of logistics and movement of people in eastern part of Indonesia, they expanded the business to the transportation sector by providing an intercity bus. So this year, Kalla will celebrate its 70th anniversary, led by the third generation of the family, and has evolved into the largest national company in eastern part of Indonesia with over 4,000 employees. Next, please. These are our 5 fundamental corporate values, which are the expansion of each letter of our company names, K-A-L-L-A. K is for kerja ibadah, which is work as worship in English. A for apresiasi pelanggan, or customer appreciation. L is lebih cepat, and the second L is lebih baik, which is the faster the better. And lastly, A is for aktif bersama, which is active together in English. Next, please. All of the Kalla values were formulated and implemented by the founders of Kalla. All the leaders before me has their own values, which is kerja ibadah from Haji Kalla, apresiasi pelanggan from his wife, lebih cepat lebih baik is from Mr. Yusuf Kalla, and aktif bersama is from our leader, the third generation leader, which is Mrs. Fatima Kalla. But until the leadership of Mr. Yusuf Kalla, these 5 values were yet to be implemented as our corporate values. Instead, they were used solely as a set of expected behaviors that are highly encouraged by the founders and the leaders of the company. So before, these values are unwritten, but until the leadership of Mr. Fatima, these values were formalized into corporate values. And nowadays, under my leadership, we further strengthen these corporate values by activating and implementing corporate culture, so that all behaviors of Insan Kalla, what we call the people of Kalla, are based on those 5 values, with a more structured measurement and activation initiative that can allow us to achieve the KPI of the company. And it is also important to share with you that every leadership, Kalla has faced multiple crises, whether is it national or global ones. Fortunately, we have always been able to survive, and each crisis that we have gone through as a company allowed us to grow even stronger. So thanks to our values. And today, Kalla Group has celebrated its 70th anniversary and continues to evolve with our 4,000 staff members, which we believe is large as the outcome of consistent implementation of Kalla values. And in the next slide, to help the internalization of Kalla values, we have gone beyond making these values as fundamental part of the Kalla management system, which translates into all regulation, policies, and strategies being strictly grounded on those 5 Kalla values. Departing from these values, we have also developed 8 key behaviors that are measurable and have been used as the key criteria in our recruitment process and to conduct our annual staff performance evaluation. For the next slide, I think we going to cut the slide after this. And these are some examples of the Kalla Group corporate culture activation initiatives that are, of course, anchored on all 5 of our Kalla values. To conclude, we jump into the next one. The next one. And now you all might wonder what are the tangible outcomes, the impacts of all the culture activation initiatives. Well, we could see the results within 3 different aspects. Revenue increase during the COVID, during 2020 and 2021, we didn't fall too far compared to other national companies. We even could bounce back higher than before. The employee satisfaction index that is constantly climbing up, and the continuous improvement of the organization culture health index. So we jump to last please. Next one. Next one. So by implementing Kalla values, not only within the office sphere, but more importantly, within each of our staff's personal life, insan Kalla or the people of Kalla is hoped to be an individual is better, stronger, and ready to face the global challenge. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, as a community that believes in importance of values, we could all be successfully facing the challenges ahead by putting values at the main center of all our activities. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bapak Solihin J. Kalla, President Director Kalla Group. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to this room. We will welcome on stage one more time the V20 2022 co-Sherpa Alissa Wahid, who will be addressing what's next for V20 2022, whom will be continued by the online presence of Ghowri Ishwaran from India, the Vice Chair of Global Education and Leadership Foundation, giving us a glimpse of V20 2023. So now, please welcome Ibu Alissa on stage.
Well, for short people, this is going to be a challenge. Can you see me? Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of V20 2022 organizer, I would like to thank you for your contribution today. We hope to engage you further in our effort to campaign for a value-driven world. Currently, we have around 80 experts from diverse backgrounds working to prepare V20 Communique, and we plan to present it in the V20 Summit. The summit will be held at our iconic Green School in Bali, in Ubud. Yay! On October 20th and 21st, 2022, with a diverse program celebrating values and also launching the Communique. So the V20 2022 organizer would like to invite you all to join us in presenting the V20 Communique to the G20 stage. Let us join hands to deepen our values so that the world can recover together, recover stronger, pulih lebih cepat, pulih lebih kuat. Thank you.
And we'll be connected online to Ghowri Ishwaran from India, the Vice Chair of the Global Education and Leadership Foundation, giving us a glimpse of V20 2023.
Hello, everybody. I'm delighted that I'll be able to introduce to you the ideas that we have in mind for G20 and V20, which will be hosted by India in the year 2023. As one of our fellow founders, Pamela, emphasized, there's a deep linkage between G20 agenda as reflected in the language of the G20 leaders' declarations. We in India are committed to strengthen the endeavors of V20 and develop impactful policy recommendations influencing the G20 countries to underpin their policy decisions based on universal and enduring values. In this context, many of the speakers today have spoken about innumerable values that are revered around the world. But one of the most important values that I think we need to concentrate on in today's world of conflict and aggression is the value to respect differences. In pursuing the endurance of universal values, we also take on and understand the Indonesian value of gotong royong, that is on collaboration, and we would like to increase the depth of what they mean by adding the Indian values of non-violence, of dialogue, and Satyameva Jayate, which means truth shall prevail. We would like these values to underpin the policy decisions that will be taken by the G20 countries, because as Madam Alissa just mentioned, unless we have a value-driven world, there will not be peace and equity and justice. Now, India's G20 priorities are envisioned to cover the areas of education, entrepreneurship, and environment. We wanted to look at sustainable development for all, looking at a human-centric approach, equitable and resilient growth, environment, our lifestyles to sustain the environment so that it can protect life on earth, and also the importance of multilateral partnerships, which is where the value of respecting differences is extremely important. Now, raising awareness about education, entrepreneurship, and environment as well can only be achieved through two dimensions. One is through the government's legal policies and their implementation. The second is how do the citizenry of the world work on this? For this, we need to work on behavioral change across the planet, keeping in mind the universal and enduring values that have been passed down to us over generations. One of the fundamental changes that we have to look at is how do we impart education? Education that will foster values and ethics in children, so that tomorrow we have a whole young generation of change makers who will make decisions and make choices based on values. Without that, without our investing in the young, I don't think we can move forward. As Marissa and Stefano have already mentioned, education, apart from education, entrepreneurship is equally important. If we are going to look at reducing global unemployment, if you want to bring up an equitable and just society, then entrepreneurship is something that needs to be studied, encouraged, and moved forward. And again, that will be part of the value system that we are speaking about. Last but not the least, for humanity to survive, we need to take care of our environment. If you want to achieve the UN sustainable goals, it cannot be done unless we underpin all our decisions, be it education, be it entrepreneurship, be it environment, unless we underpin this all with the basic values that we have inherited from our forefathers. The V20 can play a very important role by recommending to the G20 countries and maybe others that they should develop policy frameworks and implement those legislative actions that take into account the environment, the climate change, and preserving our flora and fauna. I hope that as V20 grows, it started in Saudi Arabia, moved to Italy, now to Indonesia, and next year to India. As it grows, it becomes a forum that is able to impact the policy decisions taken by various countries, policy decisions that are rooted in values. Thank you very much, and I welcome all of you to please join us next year in 2023 when V20 and G20 moves to India. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Ghowri Ishwaran from India, and terima kasih Ibu Alissa Wahid. Berikutnya, ladies and gentlemen, next the committee would like to present a token of appreciation to the speakers who are here with us today. Therefore, I'm inviting these names to be on stage one more time. Okay, so please welcome back on stage Professor Christoph Dambeck. We would like to invite back on stage Pamela Doherty, and then Mas Diki Herlambang, Dr. Asif Chowdhury, and of course Ibu Alissa Wahid. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan untuk para speakers kami. Let's give them the warmest round of applause. And we would like now to invite the giver of the token of appreciation, the co-chairs of V20. So please welcome on stage Ibu Meike Malaon. Hai Ibu Meike. And also Bapak Yuri Yogaswara to join Ibu Meike. Kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi untuk menyambut para givernya. Dan juga kami mohon kehadiran Ibu Dr. Vivi Yulaswati bersama dengan Ibu Meike dan Pak Yuri untuk memberikan tanda cinta kepada para speaker kami. Oke. Silahkan Bapak dan Ibu. Dan hadirin sekalian, ladies and gentlemen, while we're watching the procession of presenting the love from the committee to our speakers, we would like to remind you to stay in this room because the event is not ended yet, because we have prepared a very special performance, a beautiful, beautiful performance to delight our day. I'm so looking forward to this performance because I've been watching them attentively at the backstage and they're very excited to meet all of you. So please stay until the end of the event. And also, I would like to inform all of you, we are pleased to invite all G20 Development Working Group delegates to attend a networking dinner, another side event tonight on advancing inclusive digital transformation and collaboration through a quintet of capabilities. The dinner will be held tonight at 6:30 p.m. at Sofitel Hotel. This invitation is dedicated to all the delegates of G20 DWG, and the shuttle transfer is available for the DWG delegates. Will be departing from the BNDCC at the lobby at 6 p.m. So please join us if you can. Thank you. All right. Can we give them another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Here are the speakers, the co-chairs, the committee of V20 today. No, please remain on stage. They're still taking the picture. Okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you may please return to your seats. Thank you. Okay, so as Ibu Alissa said, that we will have another upcoming event, which is the V20 Summit, which will take place at Green School Bali on the 20th and the 21st of October 2022. So please join us. We're inviting all of you to come to be there to experience the values that we've been talking about this year. And then register early. So make yourself available for that and keep continuing to support V20 whenever you are, wherever you are. Keep the values conversation going. And on behalf of V20, we want to thank you. We deeply appreciate your presence and energy. May what we do together will have impacts for generations to come. And now please welcome Ibu Ni Putu Tirka Widanti, Ketua Yayasan Kulkul of Green School, to share a brief background on Green School. And she will be followed by this beautiful performance of Kulkul dance from Green School community. Silakan Ibu.
Terima kasih Mbak Melissa cantik. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tirka Widanti. I'm the president of Yayasan Kulkul Green School Bali. I'm also rector for the university, Universitas Ngurah Rai. Values give our life quality and meaning. Values are the things that are most important to us as individuals and as communities. More than material possessions, awards, and titles, values, and the real richness to our lives. Values are also central to development and humanity as a whole. Values and how we live them dictates whether or not we will be an asset of humanity and to the planet. Now is the time to embrace a value-based education. One of the fastest growing changes in the education sector is values-based learning. And this means a pedagogical approach that is more holistic and more relevant to the world of today. And parents, school teachers, leaders, and governments around the world are pushing for this change, and for good reason. It is well understood that one of the soundest principles of pedagogy is to focus on the development of the whole child. And by definition, a holistic education incorporates the development of values. It is the education of the whole person. The intellectual, physical, social, emotional, ethical, and academic. At Green School Bali, education helps the child to see and understand the bigger context and the world they're in. They begin by knowing themselves, then they start to know others, their community, their local environment, and the global context. As children grow, their circle of learning grows from local, national to global. Ladies and gentlemen, We invite you all to the V20 Summit at Green School Bali. V20 Summit at Green School Bali on the 20th and 21st October 2022. And now, please enjoy Cool Cool Dan, Tari Cool Cool by Green School students and teachers. Thank you.
Terima kasih Ibu Putu Tirka, Suksma, Butu. A round of applause for Cool Cool Dance from Green School, Bali. Beautiful, beautiful performance. So, ladies and gentlemen, the dancers are taking their final bow. With this dance, we have come to the end of our event today. Again, we want to thank you on behalf of the committee. Don't forget the dinner tonight, which will be held at the Sofitel Hotel. The bus will leave BNDCC at 6 p.m. at the lobby. The dinner will start at 6:30 p.m. And of course, we would like to see all of you being with us in the Green School Ubud on the 20th and 21st of October 2022 for the V20 Summit. So I'm Alissa Karim. Thank you for your energy, beautiful energy today. Thank you.
Leave you with a look back at the highlights of a remarkable decade that has changed Australia forever.
The 2020s began in extraordinary fashion.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today.
Imagine there's no countries.
It isn't hard to do. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday